This is Hustle and Fun, and welcome back to another episode of how I'm planning on getting this bathroom done. So I already have broken out a piece right here of the concrete floor because this is where the toilet will go in. I'll be about 18 inches from the side and another give or take 17 inches from the tub. And I need to be 12 inches away from this wall right here. So I have to get this connected into the main line, which goes right here. The tub I have about in place. All the plumbing, all the drain will need to go into this pipe as well. And then I have a third part, which is behind the concrete breaker right here. I have to either cut or break the concrete right here because there will be a drain pipe coming from inside the wall, down and out, and it will join into here as well. I'll have to give it some air, so you have to have air behind water for it to drain properly. But I'm contending with another issue that I have another line that needs to go in here. I'll show you this in a second here. Let me go to this side. So I have, if you can see right there, from the tub, well actually the shower upstairs, I have to bring a line down here, a drain pipe, and that will be going in to that main line as well. But I'm putting a drain in here as well, just in case the hot water overflow, well, if it goes bad and it starts just flowing in the middle of the night, it bursts, so I have something to carry the water out of the basement so everything does not get flooded. This is actually an interesting type of drain. It is a type that I will show you in a second that most drains, unfortunately, if they're standing with no water in them, they will start to have a sewer smell. But it actually has the capability of having water in it fed by a water line. And I'll show you how that is done. Okay, so the way this works is that it's not just a drain pipe, but it has a screen on top, but I don't want to take it off yet because we'll concrete this into the floor. So this is a screen on top of here, right there. And the drain is right here. And you can actually clean it out through here, but it will have some water sitting in it. And you can fill it up with water, but I also have something called a prime valve. So I picked this up from the local plumbing store. I'm not sure how much it was, like 20, 30 bucks, give or take. But the purpose it is for is that you connect this to a water line, and whenever like toilet flushes or there's a pressure that decreases in the line, this lets water in through this valve through here, which you actually connect into here, with either here directly, or you can run a line from wherever you install this, kind of close to that valve. That's, it could be close to a sink when you let the sink go and it drips, or as I said, you flush a toilet and some water goes through, not that much. It goes through the line and it feeds this, and it keeps this line full of water. Obviously, if you don't use the house for years and years, it's not going to work. But if you use it, the bathroom, once a day or a couple of times, it will keep feeding water in here. Just a few drips at a time, just to make sure there's water constantly in here, and that you don't get the smell from the sewer coming in here, which I found to be really something that could work well, because in the past you have had that when you go to a basement, it smells kind of musty. It smells almost like a sewer. Well, it does smell like sewer because they didn't have this valve installed. So I will be installing this later, and let's go back to the plumbing. So we are back in the basement, and this is the same kind of valve, just at a different place, that I will be installing in the floor, having it even with the concrete floor, the top of this. And I also, this is the one I showed you before, the drain pipe from the shower. It will be coming down this wall, and I still have to break some of this concrete out right there so I can join this drain and this drain, and I can run it out into the main. So that's another little project that I need to do. And once I join all these together, I obviously have to glue them. I have to make sure that I have enough pitch, somewhere between 1/4 to 1/2 inch for every 10 foot for the drain. The problem is if you have too much of a pitch, whatever's in the drain pipe, it will get stuck and it won't flow. If you don't have enough pitch or backward pitch, the water will stay in the line, and you don't want that. Something will start sticking in there, and you'll have to clean it out quite often. So you need 1/4 to 1/2 inch pitch for the main drain to work properly. And let me see if we can get this done. Let's break some concrete. Thanks for watching, and I will update you of the progress as I go on. Oh, how nice you guys are still here. You want to see what's going on with the rest of the project. Well, here it is. I broke out the concrete as I needed to. I still have to dig out the area. That's where the sink is going to go, right across there, right there. And I broke out the concrete back here as well, so I can run the drain for the shower from all the way up there down here. It's going to run across here and join with the floor drain there. Then I'm going to take it into this pipe. I also picked up some pipes. Some pieces that will go from, this is a 3-inch, just like the pipe, down to a 2-inch, and some of it to 1.5 inches. So I have some of those. I have one line that's going to be the shower and the drain. I have another line that's going to be the tub. Another one that's going to be the sink. And let's see what else we have. Oh, and one for the toilet. So all of them will be joining in this line, along with running the kitchen in here, the kitchen drain. And I'll show you something on that is really important for each one of the drains, and that's a clean out. So the way a clean out looks is like this. Let me put this together as we speak here. So it's basically from 3 parts. You have this 90-degree part. This is where the snake could go in. You have a part that has a screw in part where you can actually screw the end here so it closes off this, so you don't have any sewer gases coming up. So the way this is installed is right in here. That's why I haven't glued this line yet in here, and I haven't glued this part yet, because this needs to be reduced from 1.5 inches, actually from a 3-inch down to 1.5 inches. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to be gluing this part right in here as a clean out. So that's the progress so far. Then this drain is going to be running down this way. And from this point on, it joins a couple of inlets also. We have another bathroom that's joined in here. As you can see, there's a clean out there. And it's joining into another part of the pipe. That's another bathroom joining And back here, we have a laundry that's in here. So I'll show you on the other side what it looks like, the drain pipe. We have the drain pipe going all the way out. And what I did was I took out the old clay tile and I ran another about 5 feet or so, or 10 feet outside the wall. So if anything happens with the drain lines, I know it's not going to happen in the PVC, but out there, I can break the clay pipe around it, and I can actually continue with the PVC, join the PVC, and then go out toward the street. Here, I'm going to have another drain in the floor, the same one I have showed you before, because prior to that, it used to be up here, and that's a lot higher spot of the drain. So I took it out from there, and I'm moving it down to here, because that's a lot lower part of the basement. And that's where you need to be, at the lowest part of the basement. So we'll pick up from here on the next one, and I will show you the progress that we're making and keep you updated on that. So thanks for watching. Give us a like if you like what you see, or subscribe. So I will see you in the next part. Here's another day from Hustle and Fun in the small bathroom remodel. It's not in the planning stages anymore, but actually it is in the construction stage, or the plumbing stage, I guess would be the first on this. So I already have things lined up, as you can see here. This is going to go to the shower drain and also the floor drain. It will be joined in as one. This will be going to the tub. So you can see it's the closest one. And this will be going to the sink. And the fourth one will be to the toilet. So we got pretty close quarters here to get all of this done. But I did pick up these pieces so we would have a swooping part, or swooping elbow going in to the main drain here, which is a 3-inch drain, so we don't have any issues with getting things caught in the corners here. So we should be good to go with this. I have to still glue in a part. I have glued all the parts up to this point, including the clean out, the drain that's coming from another bathroom upstairs. And all of this is ready to go. I need to cut this to size, this drain pipe. I already have marked it, so I'm going to be cutting that first. We'll have a small piece going between these pieces right here, and I will have to start on the left-hand side here. So get this cut first, glue that in, and then comes the next piece. I have to make sure when I glue it in that it's pitching the right way. So I have to do some things. I'll probably have to move the tub out of the way so I can do some of the plumbing underneath, but I also have to see where this will fall for the plumbing for the tub. So let me get that done and continue. So here's our handy dandy chop saw here. The more teeth you have on it for this purpose, the better for cutting PVC. We have it lined up to the cutting mark that we need right here, and we'll be chopping it off and then dry fitting it, meaning we will put the pieces together or kind of measure them up to make sure they're right before we start gluing. So what you want to do is before joining 2 pieces of PVC pipe is try to clean it up as much as possible. Then you would be using the purple primer that you would put on both sides, meaning the surface right here and also inside here. And once you have done that, close up the cap so it doesn't evaporate the can actually, and then use I use a heavy duty clear PVC cement, and you need to spread it on both sides of the pipe. And once you have it on both sides, I give it a little bit of a turn back and forth or just one way. This way I know that the glue will spread evenly on all surfaces. Then hold it in place for about 5-10 seconds, because sometimes it wants to come apart. And once that time is gone or they pass by, you can let go and it should be glued. Then you can go to the next part. So here it is. I'm putting the purple on. You want to make sure it's on all surfaces, on the bottom and top. Rather take a little bit extra time to do it and not get it done well enough. So here we go. That should be fine. Now we can put it in the can and twist it, and then comes the glue. So here's a can of glue that it's a little bit older. So you can see it doesn't really have that much solvent in it anymore, so it's not going to be a good choice. So we're not going to use that. Here's another can that would be fine. See, it still has a lot of solvent in it, and you can use that to get this job done. So I'm going to put it on the outside, and then I'm going to put some on the inside as well. I'll put it back in the can and join the two surfaces together. And as you can see, I twist it a little bit, hold it in place, and in a matter of about 10 seconds, you can let go, and it will be good. Hopefully glued for life. All right, we're good to go. As I try to twist it, it doesn't move anymore. So we're good on this joint. So what we're doing with this is we're going to dry fit this joint right here. We're going to move the tub a little bit out of the way, and we actually have to take a look how this will all lay out. I have to see how this part will join in and what would be the best pitch for this. We don't want it too steep, as I mentioned before. We need about 1/2 inch per 10 foot, and we have to lay out all these pieces to make sure that everything will be fitting fine. And then we can mark this piece right here, and we can mark it right there, and also here and the next pipe and so forth. And as a dry fit, but once we are ready to glue it together, we can line up those pencil marks or crayon marks or whatever you mark it with, and then glue them together that way. So if you have the dry fit first, it will alleviate having to cut things apart and redo them. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I had a 2-inch pipe that I just had laying around, so I used that to join the two pipes. So this is a 45-degree angle, 2-inch. And I had another smaller pipe that I cut to join this Y, and with a little 22-degree, this is a 1/2 inch, I went up to this spot, and I will measure what size we need going from here all the way to the top. But also what I did is, a lot of times I do this, and I think it makes life easier. Just get some kind of pipe that will give you kind of a straight path. So if you look at this, I follow the same line, and I dug this out, this drain underneath it, so I can set the drain. And also what this does is it kind of sets the level, because this needs to be level with the two pieces of concrete I have here. So it doesn't need to be too deep or too high, so it needs to be flush. So I have to measure from this point to this point, a 2-inch pipe. And when I do that, I will cut it. What's important is that you include this lip, because it will go into this lip and also into that lip. So I will measure that, and then I'll cut it, and we'll be able to dry fit this part and also dry fit this part at the same time. So So I will be cutting or measuring the part that goes from the tub down to this drain first. And what I will do is I will put the measuring tape on top of the pipe, not inside. And the other part I will be putting right up here. So we're at 70.5, but we have this lip part that I didn't measure in the beginning, and that's actually 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to add that to it. So it's going to be 70.25 inches. So what I have done here is I have a piece of pipe already ready to go, and that's already measured to 71.25 inches. I just cut the pipe, so we are ready to take it to where it needs to be installed. And let's see here. We can dry fit this part. And then let's see if this will fit in there. We may have to cut it back just a bit. So I'm going to be cutting a little bit off of it, and we'll try this once again. So here it is. That will be just fine. What I'm going to do is take the bottom loose, and then I can glue it up here. But I'm going to dry fit the other parts. We still have to measure from this point where the drain pipe is, right here, all the way to that point where it will join in. So I'm going to measure that, I'm going to cut that and dry fit that first. So as I snap my finger, it's already done. I wish it was like that in real life. But hey, I have everything dry fitted here. Everything is fitting just fine as it seems. And I will make sure that the drain pitch is good as well. And what I do sometimes is I put something underneath, maybe gravel or something to hold it in place. But as I mentioned, I also mark the different spots. So what I do is I put a mark right here and I put a mark right here and then glue it together. As I'm gluing it and turning it, I line up the lines just to make sure that it's going to be fitting properly. So I try to go from this part, the main drain, on the way back. And I also, for example, here, it doesn't matter if I glue this first and this first, because I still have a play in here. So I can twist this around so it doesn't make a difference if that's glued. Also the small piece right in between, I can glue that as well. I can glue this piece right here. I can glue this piece as well. The elbow and right the pipe above. So there's a number of pieces I can glue ahead of time, and I don't even need to mark them. As long as there's a play in the other ones where it's not going to influence which way everything is pitched, I can get those ready. I can put primer on them, glue them, and then just mark the ones that make a difference. As I mentioned, I already have glued a few of the pieces. Here's a couple of things. This one's already glued and primed, because this piece could be glued in without it affecting the pitch or how the joints go together. Also, you can see that this is already primed on both sides and glued on this side. This is primed and glued as well. This will be the pipe that will be going up. This will be the pipe that's going from here into this Y, and this is also in place already and glued. So I will be getting a couple of other pieces done, but what I will be also doing is I will be putting the pencil marks on, just in case if it's not going to move too much, so it's going to be close. So I will put the pencil marks on to mark which way it needs to go, and I may adjust it a little bit, but it will be more or less in the same direction that it's looking right now. Okay, so I'm to the point where I have glued all the ones that can be glued without setting them in a certain angle, or what are essential to creating the right pitch. So what I'm doing is I have most of the things dry fitted. So I will go again from the main line back to the smaller lines, and I'm going to start measuring these. So you can see there's a little place right here. There's a line. I'm going to marking that, and I will mark right next to it as well. So those lines, when I glue it, they need to line up. So it will be the same way as I dry fitted it. Also on this part, it's going to be the same thing. I already have marked it. So I'm going to glue those two pieces. Okay, so I'm ready to glue these pieces. I already have everything primed. As you can see, let's get the glue on them and let's put them together. Right. Dip it in and get a little bit more glue on here as well. And let's mate these surfaces together and twist them just enough where they need to be. So that should be good. We'll wait for 10 seconds and repeat the same process on this side. So those pieces are glued together. One thing we have to keep on checking is to make sure that we have the right pitch. So take a look, make sure its pitches this way as the drain goes out. So I checked it and we're good with that. So once again, I dry fitted everything and made sure that we do have a pitch toward the main drain. And now I'm going to be marking where I need to with a pencil how the pipe is supposed to be coming together, so I can take them apart, prime them, and glue them. As I was gluing everything together, I was just about to glue the last couple of pieces together, and I noticed that I forgot to put a clean out in here, which is right here. I'm going to be cutting it with a Sawzall. It's only for this part basically, because here we have a drain and I could actually go through the drain and clean out the rest of this. But just to be on the safe side, I will put one in here. Now we are ready to prime all the pieces and put in the clean out. So I'm going to prime the stop piece first. Going to prime this as well. Now let's see. Going to be priming this and also the part of the clean out. So all the pieces are primed, as you can see. Even pipes. This pipe that I had to cut a piece out of to make it fit. And also this end. And I will still need to prime this part right here and then glue everything together. So all the pieces are glued together, including the clean out part. And what I need to do now is glue together this part right here and make sure I set it correctly, where I can actually have this flush with the concrete all across here. And so I just need to glue this part, and this section of the pipe is done. So if you like what you saw, go ahead and press the like button and also the subscribe button, so I can bring you more of these episodes. I'm planning on continuing and showing you how the rest of the bathroom turns out. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.